Hey guys, this is John with the Alpha Channel update here in Los Angeles for Friday, June 7th, 2024. And today we have Conan the Barbarian number 12. And the cover here, so this is still Barry Smith for the majority of the comic. The cover is by Kane. And he has the last 6-page story in this book. The price has gone down from 25 cents to 20. Move it closer, up and down, and then back away. And so yeah, cover by Kane. And let me show you the interior here. This is the Dweller in the Dark story. This is a famous Robert E. Howard story that they adapted for the comic. Conan gets into trouble, of course, as always. I read this today. Basically what happens is he goes to an oasis, and in the desert, oases are guarded jealously. And so these guys attack him, take him to their queen. Actually, Conan kills one of them back here. And so this is a really kind of interesting conversation that the guards have. After Conan kills one of them, who's the queen's lover, they decide they better bring him back, or she will accuse them of having murdered him in a duel and then made up the story. So they bring Conan back, and she, of course, falls for him right away. And Conan enjoys a few weeks of being the captain of her guard. But they never let him leave the palace. And eventually he gets bored of it, and they get into an argument, and she catches him with her slave girl, and they throw Conan and the slave girl into the pit where there's a monster. Now, in the novel, the monster was not drawn the way he is here, so I'm going to skip a page so they can't accuse me of... Oh, on this page I'm skipping, Conan finds a sword. From someone else who was killed down there, and then they face the monster. They loved to do this in the 70s. The 70s were big about giant creature movies for lots of reasons. It's easy for animators, it's easy for illustrators. So this one's a giant octopus. The colors in this book are really amazing. I think this is Barry Smith doing the colors. It says Sal Buscema's on the letters. And so I'm going to skip another page so we don't get copyright. But Conan has to fight the octopus and then find a way out. They go back up and find their way right into the throne room. That's very convenient. And instead of murdering the queen, Conan deals with her the way she dealt with him. And feeds her to the octopus. And then they, of course, now that the queen is dead, they need a new ruler. And they nominate Conan, but they explain that they have to have a queen. And Conan could only be like her second. So Conan nominates this slave girl. But then says, I'm not going to be your, kind of like the end of Conan the Destroyer, where he tells the girl, I'm not going to be your second. And so this Kane story is kind of a what if. You can see Roy Thomas and Kane over on the side here in this side panel where they're discussing this. This is a story out of the Barbarian age. It's basically a sword and sorcery story in Conan's era. You can see how well Kane fills the panels and how much more professionally this story flows. Maybe professional is not the right word because it is art, but it's Barry Smith's stuff. He's still very new. And I don't know that he ever rose to this level of craftsmanship, I guess is the word. I don't know. Kane is maybe Kane has thousands of more pages than Barry Smith got to at this point, which is fair. Experience matters. Speaking of which, I love this panel right here. These guys are just incredible. These guys are masters. Kane is definitely... I'm kind of new to his art, where I really chased Barry Smith stuff for a long time just because he was so associated with Conan, and I was a huge Conan fan because as a kid I desperately needed to hit the gym and work out and not be bullied. And that's kind of, these guys being so good. I'm going in a few different directions all at once here. They're massive inspiration, and so is the subject matter. And that for a kid growing up is incredibly valuable. But speaking of their art, looking at this and looking at it more closely and thinking about what I was working on, I don't know if you guys remember yesterday's or saw yesterday's, I was working on a version of this. This came out really well last night. Once I knew what I wanted the composition to be, it was really easy. So this is what I've found for me when it comes to writing stories and creating art. So this is a mom coming out of a pet store they've got the little dog down here, and she's holding the leash with her foot. She's holding him back. This is a little boy watching two skaters who are coming down this side, and the goldfish is jumping out of the bowl, which she needs to then catch. So that was a lot easier once I knew how to fill the frame. And yesterday I showed like 6 pencil drawings of just skeleton, like gesture drawings of trying to figure that out. It's very interesting with art. When you know what you want to do, it's really easy. When you have to do something to meet a deadline, that's an incredibly different sort of pressure. And that's the pressure I was putting myself under the last few days. Because I knew I have to do this fold out for the cover. It's the first cover. Why not make it a fold out cover? And then you get to put in everything. What I'm discovering about skateboarding is the same thing I discovered about drawing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The first comic book I ever attempted when I was a kid was a character named White Tiger, that was his costume, and he lived at an abandoned amusement park, and I thought that was like the coolest hideout ever. And he was going to be a guest character in the Ninja Turtles. And what I discovered was I had to spend a lot of time drawing Bebop and Rocksteady and the Foot, and I loved drawing Shredder. But then White Tiger, this character, and I didn't get to the Turtles until page 17 or 18 or something like that. And Turtles were how I learned to draw. I learned to draw by drawing the comic book version of the Turtles. That was what I was really infatuated with in high school. And Conan too. But something about the Turtles was a great first thing. It wasn't the X-Men. My art was awful. Their art was not exceptional. But they were masters of the panels and how the stuff laid out. And that's what this was really good with this. And so that was what I discovered what I'm discovering with the skateboarding stuff is it's great to draw the characters, but you really have to get good at drawing the world around them fast, or you have nothing to put them in. There's some comics, I want to say, Gen 13, one of the first Image books, and I always blamed Jim Lee's Gen 13 for this, but it wasn't. I think it was one of Rob's books. It might have been like Wildstorm or something like that. There's a huge fight, and there's no bad guys. And that's something you can do drawing superhero characters. You can just do Batman versus the Joker and forget the background. You can't do that with skaters because skaters are fighting the environment. So the environment is everything. And I'm learning very quickly that penciling cement at an angle is just as important as penciling the bark of a tree at an angle. And it's fun. I'm having a great time. And that's why I'm so happy with this. This really turned out well. I filled the frame. There's plenty of characters. There's good follow through with everything that's going on. It's going to get better as it gets inked, but I'm really happy with it. There's forward and back, and then the skaters are going to be coming toward you. And I discovered also why it's so important for skaters to get out of the skate park, because when you're doing the comic, drawing them in the skate park is almost like drawing superheroes fighting Capcom. It's like not knowing any background. So drawing them coming down the street, jumping sale signs and coming around trash cans and scaring mom coming out of the pet store with her little kid and the dog and the goldfish. That, for comic book, that's everything. Legend of Ashley Fox. See, I've been able to do this with the writing, and now I'm able to take what I've learned in writing over into the comic and do follow through in a single image. This image I'm really happy with. Legacy of a Mad Scientist. This is art by my best friend from animation school. Legacy of a Mad Scientist and Legend of Ashley Fox here on YouTube. 26 hours of awesome science fiction audiobooks. You can download the ebook for free at Smashwords or pay for the paperback at Amazon.com. And we still have our Wildwood Tarot for the day, which is, let me show you the box. And the Dead Man book. See, this one, there's two versions of this deck. There's one version without the book. And I haven't been looking up the cards and reading off what it says in the book because I don't use this for divination. I don't do readings. I don't do these kind of readings. I read audiobooks. I do narration because that's just right hand in hand with fiction. And fiction's great, but they say communication is 37%, 64% body language and 37% tone and inflection. So you get a lot more with an audiobook. This is the Stag, number 8. Wildwood Tarot. Check out his hand holding the sword. That's what I was really impressed with in this art. I've been paying a lot of attention to hands because, you have to. You can express a lot in a drawing with a hand. I'm going to hold it up close and move it up and down so you guys can see it. And move it back. Swear to God, I am going to figure out where the Z axis is to hold these books out right for you guys when I get around to it. These videos, look, I was a professional editor for 20 years, so I cannot put a ton of effort into these videos because they don't justify it. It's just me running my mouth, promoting my comics, and showing off weapons and skateboards. And you know what else I love about a skateboard? So I've trained martial arts pretty much my whole life. Taekwondo was the first one. But a skateboard is a weapon. And doing it is a martial art. You're fighting gravity. You're fighting this plank of wood and getting it to flip. And, ollie. There's the muscle right here on the side of your hip. Oh my God, it gets so sore. Learning to ollie. And then you have to learn switch, which means going the other way. You have to learn that because you have to learn how to do a nollie, which is a back leg ollie. I'm probably getting that wrong too. Anyhow, all right. Just love today. See you guys.